Hey everybody, as you know, I am a runner based off many of the videos I've made about running, and so if you are a runner or just a walker, you probably are into getting a smartwatch of some kind and measuring your steps or measuring your exercise as you get a little more into it. So I ended up over the past year, few months, acquiring a couple of different watches. So I wanted to do a comparison for runners out there like myself. So I have a Fitbit Versa 2 that I've been using for several months now, and only in the past couple months, nice little Christmas gift, I got the Garmin Vivoactive 4S. And so first and foremost, let's talk about just being a user of either of these watches. So personally, between the Fitbit and the Garmin, and perhaps some of this is because I've had the Fitbit for longer and have just become used to certain aspects to it, but I've just found the Fitbit to be more user-friendly. Really nice display, very easy to cycle through, see your steps, things along those lines that make it just visually much more pleasant than the way the Garmin is in its presentation. So just as it is as a watch, I kind of prefer the Fitbit in the way it looks, the way it feels also, as well as just the visual display. So in that sense, I think it's a little bit more user-friendly for the general consumer out there. Now, when it comes to the battery, for example, as you can tell right now, I went through the entire week just trying to see how long will each battery last after charging them up a week ago. And so the Fitbit battery died last night. The Garmin's still going. It's at 12%. So this Fitbit probably will get you a full 5 to 6 days of working use before you have to charge it again. The Garmin's still going strong at 12%. Of course, you're still going to have to plug that in, get it going again. Now the focus in again on being a runner. And one of the biggest issues I was having with the Fitbit Versa 2, using it for several months, which is why I ended up getting this as a gift, was I never felt as a runner I could get accurate mileage information out of it. Now, I live in mountains, I run at a higher elevation. GPS might be an issue for the Fitbit as well. So I never could pinpoint exactly how the Fitbit saw my running, saw my length, and obviously that's important when training for any race. So I got the Garmin. For the past month, training-wise, I was running with both of these on, and the mileage was off on both of them. I couldn't pinpoint exactly which was more favorable. Favorable was the Fitbit. It was giving me much better mileage than the Garmin was, but it just wasn't making sense. I think the GPS was just not matching up with the Fitbit not picking up and counting the miles in the way I would hope for. If you're a walker, that's where it got interesting too. The steps far more favorable out of the Fitbit than they were out of the Garmin. Which is more accurate? I don't exactly know. It just depends on how they seem to measure steps. But sometimes the disparity between the Fitbit and the Garmin was like anywhere from 800 to 1,000 steps a day. I was doing more, according to the Fitbit, than the Garmin felt it was. So the big test for me as a runner was, hey, let me go ahead and run an actual race, wear both of them, and see what happens. So I ran a 5K at, I'd say, mile-high level of elevation. So how did it work? The Garmin nailed it. I crossed the finish line of that 5K. It said 3.09 miles on it. Not too shabby. Here is what the Fitbit said. So as you can see, the Versa 2 was just off, and so I cannot really gauge what it's doing when it comes to its GPS abilities, its abilities to measure mileage. And so if you are somebody that is very into exercising, very into ensuring that you're getting the right types of mileage down when you might be running in a variety of different areas while you're training, I would go with Garmin. They just are hitting it really well when it comes to the accuracy, no matter where you might be, of your actual running mileage. Now, when it comes to the apps, I honestly haven't delved too much into the Garmin app. I'm not a huge fan of apps anyway to begin with, let alone now I have to do it with fitness, blah, blah, blah. The Fitbit's, again, a very user-friendly app. It's not too difficult. So the Garmin's as well, but when it comes down to it, both have their pros and cons to them, and I will get to that now in the conclusion. So again, in looking at the pros and cons and coming to a conclusion, price-wise, the Versas seem to be going for like $130 right now on Amazon. The Vivoactive's more in the $200 range, might be a little higher depending on the style and other things you want to get. So it comes down to what you want out of your exercise experience. So the Fitbit, I think, is a really approachable watch for someone that's just looking to get their steps in, looking to walk, getting into exercising for the first time and needs some motivation. Really great user-friendly experience with the watch, visually appealing, as well as the app. And I will say that I'm going to keep my Fitbit on because I'm involved in weekly Fitbit challenges with friends who are walkers or who just want to get motivated during the pandemic to keep walking and to keep running or keep exercising. And so in that way, I think Fitbit has become extremely approachable for any person. And as a result, it kind of keeps you connected to a lot more people. And so, I don't know, it's nice in that way. I think it's that kind of, like I mentioned, an approachable, easy to understand, easily accessible watch to the average everyday person. Now, you probably have seen a couple other of my Fitbit videos, which I found intensely frustrating because I don't think Fitbit as a whole makes a quality watch. It tends to break down pretty quickly. We'll see what happens with this Versa 2, obviously a much more elaborate watch than what they had in the past with the Charge HR and whatever, that would break down very quickly on me. But so we'll see. But again, I would think if you're looking for a little bit cheaper while still having that solid brand name to it, and you're not looking for something crazy out of your exercise watch, Fitbit Versa 2 can work for you. Now, where the Garmin is better is for people like me as well that might be out there that are into running, that are into weight training, any kind of exercise. Like the Garmin really measures it very well. And like I said, when the real test to me was running a race and knowing that the Garmin, whatever the situation and terrain was nailing the distances down. So this will become really important because I'm training for a marathon in June. So knowing that the distances that I'm running, wearing my Garmin, will be measured appropriately, I can get the right kind of training down and looking over them and saving those runs and being able to evaluate that via the watch and the app is really important. And that's the whole point to getting this kind of advanced technology if you're super into exercising. So again, I think Fitbit, still good for the easily accessible average consumer out there. The Garmin Vivoactive 4S for those of us a little more intense into exercise, willing to pay that little more for it, and just not being too focused on the visuals or things like that with the watch, being more concerned about its effectiveness in measuring our exercise and our output. So that's it. Any questions, leave them below in the comments. If you, of course, like this review or comparison, please do like it. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll be continuing to do more reviews of technology, of running-related items too, or exercise-related items, as they come up in life. Well, that's it. And whatever you might decide out there, please do get moving, get happy, and enjoy exercising.